Oh, hello Gemini. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If Gemini is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Fool card. I don't know, somehow I knew it was going to be the Fool, right? I feel like you're somebody who is really in, you're in sort of a new place, you know. I think that you have an attitude of freedom. I feel like you've just kind of let go of a lot of stuff. Yeah. I feel like you kind of, like you got rid of a lot of baggage. Maybe you really recently took off from your old life. Maybe you kind of started fresh. You started new somewhere. Maybe you have transcended. This is kind of a leveling up, you know. In some ways, I feel like the Fool card is what happens after the Eon card, you know, the doorway of fire that we talk about. On the other side, you are just the pure, essential you. None of your baggage comes with you, right? That it's a fiery doorway that you go through, right? So I feel like that's kind of what's happened. I feel like you have such a great attitude. I feel like you're kind of you're almost like the class clown, you know? I feel like you're a bit of a jokester. I feel like you like to have fun. And I feel like right now in your life, you're okay being silly. You're okay being fun. You're not taking everything so seriously as you used to. Okay? Maybe we'll find out why. Maybe we'll find out where this is taking you. But this is kind of to me, it feels like a new attitude. Yeah, it feels like I said, freedom. It feels like lightness. It feels like you're just you. And it's almost like you're just kind of saying, hey, world, this is me. I'm not pretending. I'm not doing this. This is just me, pure and simple. I feel like also you have a lot of raw talent that needs to be sort of tapped into. Okay, so we're going to put this card into some context. We're going to see what's going on with this Fool here. We've got a Two of Swords. Two of Swords sometimes is a card of choice. Sometimes it's the card of no choice at all, right? We've got a Six of Wands. We've got the Star card. We've got the Queen of Cups and Ace of Cups. Oh, yeah. You're not, there isn't a decision to make. We've got a Knight of Wands and an Ace of Swords. There's no decision. You already have the clarity. You're already going forward. And the Fool really, you know, and I guess a little tangent here. Sometimes the Fool is a card that has no direction. You know, sometimes the Fool is just this pure air energy, just kind of stumbles and fumbles into one thing after the other, somehow manages to succeed, right? So a lot of the time we get the Fool and we say, you really need to get it focus, you know? That you have all of this creative energy, all of this air, all of this curiosity, but there's no focus, there's no direction. So sometimes we think, okay, the Fool, yeah, you got to pick a direction in your life, right? But with the Ace over here, I feel like, you know, you already have a direction. And yours is a direction of following your heart, following your instinct, following your intuition, following the starlight. We're not invoking the mental energy. We're not trying to mentalize it and figure out a plan now. Maybe you're saying, I'm done with all that. I'm following my heart, following my gut, following spirit, right? But I'm not gonna busy the mind with trying to, you know, create and formulate this, this foolproof plan, right? Foolproof, get it? I need a little rim shot drum kit over here. We know that life's what happens while we're busy making plans, you know. So I feel like you are taking this Fool energy and you really are kind of following your intuition. You're following the starlight. You had some sort of spiritual revelation. Something happened to you recently. Here's the Chariot card, and finally we're going to end with a Four of Pentacles. So the Fool is arriving in a very stable place. You're not just wandering out in the wilderness, getting yourself into trouble, putting yourself in harm's way. You know, you're arriving at the Four of Pentacles. Your life is going to be stable and solid and safe and secure. And but how you get there is another matter, right? I myself would probably put it in the GPS. I'd probably print out the MapQuest directions, you know. But you know, you're just kind of saying, I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to feel it out. I'm just going to see where I'm just going to play it by ear, I guess, is another sort of euphemism for not having a plan, right? But somehow, you're not having a plan. You're going to get to this jackpot anyway. You're getting to this, you're going to find the Holy Grail. This literally is Parseval that sort of doesn't really even know what they're doing or why, has no plan, has no objectives really, but is going to find that Holy Grail and is going to take it home. And this is going to be transformed into a palace, right? This is something that is, I mean, it's going to be a glorious achievement for you, whatever you are, whatever your life is moving toward. It's going to be so, so good. That's my prediction. Okay. Now let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. And we're going to set it down right here. We're going to put Frankenduck right on top. I can't believe we're all the way back around to Frankenduck again, right? These days go by so fast. We're not going to look at that card until the end. If you have a prediction for that card, put it down in the comments. I bet you'll get it right. Don't try to guess. Just whatever. Just name a card, you know, as foolishly as possible. And anyway, we're gonna look at that card at the end, okay? And we're gonna practice our intuition. I think it's gonna be a good one. But let's look around the room here. We have major arcana. Yes, we do. We've got 1, 2, and 3. This cycle of readings we've been having a little bit less of the major arcana. Okay, which tells me because the last cycle of readings, from Aries to Pisces that we do, the last cycle had a lot of major arcanas. Every reading had at least 4, sometimes 5, 6, 7, a lot. And that usually shows that there's a lot of spiritual work taking place. And now it kind of seems, since there's only, I think we had Aries and Taurus I just did, they only had 2, you've got 3, so it's less. So it's kind of like all that work we did the last cycle really showing. You really made some progress here, right? And I think that it's brought about this Fool energy. And the Fool is kind of, in a way, someone who is freed of all their karma. I don't think that we ever are truly, completely, all the way free of our karma. I believe it's possible, but usually we make more decisions in life and we move forward with other things and we're creating more karma as we go, right? Maybe that's why you've got this two of Swords here and the Ace of Swords kind of saying, don't create any more karma for yourself. Don't let your mind get you into anything. Just follow the divine light. Okay, and I like that's what we see with the Star card, because that's the star that is guiding you. It's your lodestar, right? Your North Star. So we've got our major, 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 and I think the Chariot is a very important card too, because the Chariot is you traveling forward, but you're a knight, and you got to have your shining armor. Okay. So you've got to have the right outfit, let's say. All right, we'll get to that card anyway in a few minutes. But we have fire. We certainly have water. We have air, right? And we've got our earth energy. And the earth is sort of at the end there, because it's kind of like this is a spiritual, mental, emotional journey, a creative journey. And at the very end, it solidifies into a life, into actual reality, into something that's tangible and physical, and it's an achievement. It's a goal. You've arrived somewhere. In your chariot, you've arrived. Okay? It was very, very beautiful. I am predicting good things with this mystery card. So the Two of Swords, anyway, because the Fool, I think after this event, this leveling up, this spiritual awakening, this freeing of your soul, whatever this sort of event was for you, we'll talk about it when we get to the Star card. I think it's freed you from any prejudices, really, from any bias over which path you choose in life. It's kind of like you've transcended the need to make these choices. It's kind of like, well, again, it's kind of like you're freed from a lot of your karma. It's in a way that you know the destination that's meant for you. You know you're going to get to that Four of Pentacles. How you get there is up to Spirit. You know, usually we see the Fool and we say, okay, you got to pick a direction. The Fool needs some guidance. The Fool needs to think about where they're going and why. And, you know, you got to look before you leap and all this stuff. You got to have, so don't be a fool. You got to have a little bit of wisdom here. And so we see our choices and we try to choose the path that's correct for us. And it's usually an intellectual thing. We say, okay, well, that path over there looks good. That path over there doesn't look good. Well, I'm going to go the way that looks good. Probably better food over there. But I don't feel that this is how you're doing. I feel like you're transcending this need for choice. And there's that crescent moon at the top, which shows the intuition, the psychic sort of guidance, the lunar illumination that's showing you the path. Okay? Rather than might be the solar light of our conscious mind, you're sort of you're using the lunar light of your unconscious mind. Yeah. So I feel that there is, and I don't know if this is the way it's manifesting for you, but I feel like things are not as complicated as they used to be for you. Things have simplified, you know? It's almost like you go to the grocery store and you see 1,000 boxes of cereal, and how am I going to choose what cereal? Which one's the best? Which one do I eat? Which one is going to, be healthy for me? Which one am I going to like? Which one, what do? We could spend an eternity in the cereal aisle, at least I could, at the grocery store. But I feel like this is really you saying it's all cereal, and you just sort of, I don't know, you're just sort of guided to the one that's going to be right for you. It's not this process of reading all the ingredients and trying to figure out which way maybe you're going to call a friend, and talk it over, No, it's just sort of, you're just going with your gut. You're just going with your instinct. Because at the end of the day, you're going to get that Four of Pentacles, and at the end of the day, you're going to eat, you're going to be full, and it's going to be fine, all right? And I don't know if that really, you still got to read the labels, that's not what I mean, but that you're finding it easier to trust yourself, easier to trust capital S, right? Your big self, your true self. You're finding it easier to trust your heart. Yeah. And that, I think, is partly because of this Six of Wands underneath everything. It's like you have this innate knowledge that things are going to work out in the end. This is already a sense of victory. It's kind of like you've already won. We're still on the journey. We're still sort of traveling the road to that Four of Pentacles, but you've already achieved it. You've already arrived. Okay. This is also the card of teamwork. It's saying that a win for you is a win for the rest of us. So your freedom, your enlightenment, your ascension, your spiritual activation is helping the rest of us just a little bit, That raising your consciousness is raising the collective consciousness in this universe. Okay? And I don't know if you look at things that way or not, but in a very practical way, this is the idea that when you trust your gut, your instinct, your intuition, your heart, whatever, things work out. When you don't, when you over-intellectualize things and you analyze things without following your heart and your gut, things haven't worked out. And that's simple. And that's kind of, maybe it's anecdotal. Or you could say, yeah, every time I try to think about things and reason it out and do the pros and cons, and I ignore what my gut's telling me, things go sideways. But if I just sort of just feel it and do it, then there seems to be success and prosperity. It seems to go a little bit better for me when I do that, And this is a very simple fact that we can recognize within ourselves. And we can kind of look at it conversely, that when you ignore your gut, when you ignore spirit, when you ignore your starlight, when you ignore the intuition or your heart, things kind of don't work out. It seems like we overcomplicate things. We get into situations that are then a struggle to get out of, and it's just... And then we tell ourselves, well, next time I'm just going to listen to my gut, And then most of us, the situation comes around again, and what do? Well, we start to over-intellectualize it. We start to think about it. We phone a friend, and, it becomes a mess again. The starlight in the back. This is the star card. This kind of represents that spiritual awakening that you had recently. I think in the last couple of years, this was a major force. And the star card has two phases to it. The first one is the karma, right? It's a light that shines inside of you where you can pay attention to where your buttons are, where your knots of karma are, right? Where your work needs to be done, so that we can free ourselves from some of that, okay? And then phase 2 kicks in. Phase 2 is when the light then shines out into the world around us and we know which path to follow. That we're being guided by something and we're just connecting the dots, that's all, right? And really that's a process that allows us to be sort of empty. And if we're empty, we're just a hollow tube, right? Then the creative fire, the spiritual light, the divine light can flow right through us. We are a perfect, clear channel, a perfect conduit, a perfect medium for the divine energy. And that shows us how to be either the fool or the magician, right? Two of my favorite cards in the tarot. And the magician is the sort of skill. It's the architect of our reality, right? That we become that clear channel, that perfect medium of divine light, and then we are creating our reality perfectly in accordance with that divine will, right? The fool, on the other hand, isn't holding a magic wand. The fool isn't trying to create reality. The fool is just being sort of, is almost kind of doing the opposite in a way, right? Not trying to create a certain type of life, but just allowing themselves to be guided into the right paths of life, right? I'm trying to articulate the difference here. And it's the difference between, raw talent and the refined skill that, maybe, we apply to our raw talent. Okay? So we think skill and talent, we think magician and fool. Yeah. And the fool, to me, is the essential Taoist, right? Not trying to coerce reality, not trying to nudge the river, but trusting in the divine energy to flow into the right channels and rivers for us, right? So that we're not trying to direct the energy in any way. We're letting the energy just come out and lead us down whatever path it needs to. Whereas the magician is trying to use that creative light, that spiritual light, that divine energy, to build up the life that is to which we aspire. Right. And so there's a difference there. It's kind of the fool is kind of not doing anything, whereas the magician is trying to do everything. Right. The fool tries to do nothing. And it's not exactly that black and white, but for now we can call it that. So anyway, I think the star energy was a particular time in your life, a process that you went through of this awakening, this enlightening, the release of a lot of karma. And I don't know exactly what this was, but I feel as if it sort of freed you from a lot of things, a lot of desires, a lot of even plans that you thought you had just sort of don't mean as much anymore. The Fool has been stripped down to just its bare essential nature. Okay, the Fool is kind of empty in a way. That it's almost kind of saying that I'm returning my soul to a blank slate, and whatever spirit wants to direct me toward is going to be my path, you know. And so we're letting ourselves be sort of pushed and guided and directed and nudged by spirit. Yeah, well, we're not trying to interfere in any way, you know. So there's a purity here. I think with the Queen of Cups at the top here, I think that there was a lot of emotional things. When we're talking about the karma and the buttons that, you know, the buttons that we have to find and the knots of karma and all the things that we have to work on, I think a lot of those were emotional for you. Okay, I think a lot of the past for you was trying to convince the world to fit into the emotions that we had. Does that make sense? So I feel as if we were in a way trying to redirect the river. That we were trying to have an influence maybe over what sort of things came our way, or even in terms of relationships, how other people perceived us or how they projected their energy toward us. Okay, so I feel that with this, there's a lot of there's a realization that we're responsible for how we feel. You know, when we kind of say to other people, like, you know, you made me feel this way, or that makes me feel something, right? And I feel that right now, that sentence doesn't really make sense to you. Nothing is making you feel anything, right? If it feels that way, right? If it seems as if something is making me feel a certain way, that's because I'm not fortified. That's because maybe I have too much corresponding water, you know, collections of water in me that respond to that energy. So it's a button that's getting pushed, right? But it's not anything else making me feel something. I'm feeling it. You know, what's in me is making me feel that way. And yes, it may be just resonating with that negativity that's coming in, but it's not, you know, it's not making me feel that way. So I think that by finding a lot of our own buttons, by really being, you know, the Queen of Cups is all about emotional honesty, about emotional transparency, about radical self-acceptance, radical self-love, and looking at what's within our emotional body and finding out what are those buttons that are being pushed by people on the outside. So then we find those, we recognize those. Maybe we can disconnect some of them. And then when people are projecting a certain energy toward us, it doesn't move me. It doesn't make me feel anything. You know, and that's sort of a big part of the Fool card. The Fool doesn't, not that the Fool doesn't feel anything, the Fool does, but nothing sticks. There's nothing in here that can correspond with what's going on outside, and so there's no buttons inside the Fool that get pushed. The Fool is just like, oh, a pleasant experience, oh, an unpleasant experience, you know, and all things are equal. You know, all things are kind of just almost the same. I mean, it feels unpleasant, yeah, but it passes right through. It's kind of in one ear and out the other, you know, in one heart valve and out the other. And oh wow, that was unpleasant. Okay, and it's not identified. It doesn't linger there. It doesn't attach to those feelings. It doesn't become the negativity that it's experiencing in any random situation. It doesn't become that. Because there's nothing inside that's going to reach out and grab onto it and hold on to that. That's familiar. It's like the synapses in our brains or whatever, right? We sort of get rid of the receptors for that negative energy, And it's able to just pass right through us. Oh yeah, we can see it for what it is. We can feel it. But it's not going to attach to us. We're not going to become that and identify with that. So I think this water energy is a very important factor in your spiritual growth right now. I feel like in your life, I feel like people used to take advantage of you. People used to feel as if they could sort of guilt you into doing things, or that they could sort of, they knew what buttons to push to get you to sort of do what they wanted you to do, or to react the way that they wanted you to. Spirit's also saying that you've been having doubts about the decision that you made. Maybe that's why we got our Two of Swords here, because there is just the acknowledgement that you made the right decision. Free yourself from any of that doubt. Okay, let that be gone, just as the sort of emotional stuff is being sort of purged or cycled through. Okay. The Ace of Cups in the future position, absolute blessing. This is you ready to receive, I think, all things equally. We're not just looking for the pleasant. I don't just want life that's all joy. I just don't want to eat ice cream all day, all day, all day. Sometimes I need a little salty, right? Sometimes I need a little, other stuff, because that's what makes the good stuff really the good stuff, right? Is having a mixture, right? That's why the perfect bowl of food, the perfect soup or whatever, has all sorts of flavors. There's sweet, there's sour, there's salty, there's umami, there's acid, right? I mean, I don't know. I think those are them. Any of my chef friends out there, please let me know what those flavors are again. There's bitter, sweet, salty, there's acidic, and then there's the umami, I think. But you want all of that. If it's just all sweet, that's why they say, well, you don't want a dessert that's just all sweet. Put a little bit of salt on that. Have a little bit of a bitter note in your sweet dessert, and it magnifies the experience tremendously. So I think with this, your heart is really open now to just receive experience of life. And yeah, we want to receive all the love. We want all of the blessings. This is really, we're ready for a healthy and happy relationship. We're ready for a path that is just, that feels good, that leads to creative fulfillment. And I think your heart is just, it's so wide open right now. Okay? And when your heart is wide open, you know that some of the negative stuff's going to get in, but that's not going to, again, you don't have the receptors for them anymore. You're okay with that. Sometimes we get so locked up in our heart, we don't want to let any of the bad stuff in, right? So we lock it down. We close the storm doors or whatever. Nothing gets in, not even the good stuff. And we become hard and cold. We open our heart wide open, we're letting all the love in, baby. But some of the bad stuff's going to sneak in too, and that's all right. Okay, your heart is wide open right now, and you're ready for all that love. You're ready, and this, it's in your future, right? This is the future position. So I think you are looking forward to a life that is full of love. You are ready for that healthy and happy relationship. Okay, maybe we're talking a romantic relationship in your future, or this is I think everything. It's not. I don't think it's one particular thing. I think it's the Fool letting everything in. He wants to feel all the emotions, and that in that way, we really know what we want, what we like. We can choose in a way. Our spirit can sort of guide us to the right sort of emotional experiences that are meant for us, can lead us toward our destiny in that way. Let's talk about the path of the serpent. And as we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. It helps out the channel too. And I really do appreciate that support. Okay. Here we have fire energy. This is the Knight of Wands. This is very impulsive. This is a horse and a rider. And if we don't know what we're doing, if we're unsure of ourselves, we don't know the horse very well, we're sort of timid and we're scared, and we get on the horse and Maybe it starts to just gallop away and we are just frantic. We don't know what to do. Maybe we fall off. Maybe we try to go left when it's trying to go right, and everybody just tumbles. It's just bad, right? Impulsivity is only good when you can trust your impulses. When the horse and the rider are one unit, when they have melded together, and there's mutual trust and respect, and there's just this intuitive sort of spiritual connection, you can trust your instincts, you can trust your body, you can trust your impulse, and you can let it ride. You can let the horse carry you away because you're holding the reins and the two of you are one. And this is the way you are approaching, I think, a lot of new things in your life. I think you're not afraid to start over as many times as you need to. You have no fear of beginnings. Right? Sometimes beginnings are the most fun. Right? You're not afraid to start over. You're not afraid to let your impulses take you into the next new thing. Because you know yourself, you know you can handle it, you know who you are, and you know why you're here. And then I think we sort of, it's interesting, back to the star and the fool, because we think the star answers those questions for us. Who am I? Why am I here? Then the fool sort of forgets, right? It's like we have that realization of who we are and why we're here, and then we sort of forget it in our conscious mind. We let it just kind of go back to the unconscious, where it can work its magic underneath the surface by leading us to victory after victory after victory. Because if we remember it, that's mentalizing it, that's intellectualizing it, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So we have this spiritual experience, and then I think you forgot it. And it's funny, right? It's kind of ironic. But I think it needs to be that way. And I think that, if you read a lot of the texts and things of other people's experiences, the most profound mystical experiences, the conscious mind doesn't really remember afterwards. I know something happened, but I don't know what. Because we don't want to consciously interfere with that. Trust me, it's down there under the surface working its magic. Okay? And it's leading you toward certainty. This is the Ace of Swords in the position of your environment. I think that you have a clarity and a certainty about things without having to intellectually know all the facts. You don't need all the answers, yet you still have clarity and confidence and understanding. Okay? And I think that this is the idea that the right answers will be revealed to you as you need them. It's sort of on that need-to-know basis, I think that this is you having a very, very powerful will. In other words, I think that in your relationships with other people, you don't hesitate, it's like you always know what to do or what to say or where to go or what not to say or where not to go, There's always the kind of the wisdom, really, about a situation. And I just think that you have this tremendous insight, and you're very decisive, and you're very strong in your decisions. Yeah. And I think that you're blunt. I think that maybe the people around you lately have been kind of thinking, something's going on with Gemini, because they're just like, they're not holding back, And it's not that you're so loquacious, but that you answer very sharply. You answer to the point, right? Very few words that say the most. And maybe people kind of view it as being a little inconsiderate or a little harsh, But I think you're very direct. That's the word, very direct in your interactions with other people. Because there's just a clarity in you. It's like you don't have to sit there and ponder something for hours or figure out how to respond. It's like it just comes out of you. It's impulsive, but you're trusting your impulse to guide you toward your beautiful life, toward success and victory and love and all these great things, right? So I really like the Ace of Swords in your environment. It's kind of like you always know the right thing to do. You know, you always know if it's which way do we go, left or right. It's just you already know, and it's like this victory has already happened, and in each moment you're just sort of remembering what the directions were. Oh yeah, it's left. You know, and I think it's really it's an interesting energy for me anyway to witness. The Chariot in the position of your obstacle, I think. The obstacle is, in some ways, it's the armor that we have to put on, because the Fool is so wide open that a lot of stuff is coming in. The Fool is really, everything is a novel, everything is new, you know, and so there is the risk of getting hurt. There is the risk of being too vulnerable, I guess, with that Fool, and it'd be wide open, right? So the Fool puts on a little bit of armor when it gets on the Chariot, right? And that's who's underneath this, is the Fool, right? Inside that armor is the Fool, is your sort of pure spirit. And sometimes we have to conceal that underneath some armor. Not everybody should be privy to your essence in that way. Okay? And so when we're out here on this quest and in this life, we have to preserve our energy. In other words, we have to know some boundaries. We have to have boundaries and establish them and enforce them in our lives. And in some ways, this is, yes, you realizing that your life is not just one sort of wandering fool's journey, but there actually is a particular course that's meant for you. And I don't think there's any real resistance to you about this, but that is sort of the difficulty right now, is for the Fool to say, hey, it's, I guess playtime is over. It's time to get back on the Chariot and really get toward these goals. The Four of Pentacles is the achievement, the manifestation of your reality. This is where Spirit is taking you. And I think that this is safety, security, stability. This is integrity. This is a financial foundation. This is really, really good. This is the solidification of all the other energy we have. This is the first really solid card. Everything else is sort of abstract, theoretical, internal, mental, emotional, spiritual. This is concrete, right? This is, this is the business. This is the home. This is the bank account. This is your physical body. And this is what we need to preserve. This is what we're building and preserving. Okay? Spirit's taking you to your own castle, and now it's your responsibility to sort of maintain the grounds and keep up with the, the chores and stuff like that, right? So this is a big win. I think this is, I know we're not really talking about a lot of practical things today, but if we had to, with the Four of Pentacles, this would really be your domain, your area of life, your home, your job, your friends, your family, your possessions, your money, those physical, tangible things that are yours, right? So I think this is the attainment of financial stability, a solid, family relationships, really all around stability. Yeah, and I think that this is very, very good. Let's look at the mystery card, because I'm predicting something really, really good here. We've got this Ace of Cups. I think that this is going to be a continuation of some of our water energy. I'm pretty sure. It might be a 9 or a 10 of Pentacles. If this is kind of, if there's more of a career concern for you or more of a money sort of concern, but I don't think there really is. I think this is about the emotion. I think this is about the love. I think this is about the joy and the intimacy and the experience of life. Because I feel like your physical life is going to be fine. The money's going to be there, the resources, the people, places, and things, those are going to be there. I feel like you already know that. What we want is the love. What we want is those peak experiences of joy and novelty, Maybe 3, 6, or 9 of Cups. Yeah. If you have a prediction, put it down in the comments. Here we go. 3 of Cups. Oh, yeah. Where's my bell? Three of Cups, this is the celebration. This is you having that intimate experience with your friends and family. You know, it's like the money, yeah, all that's fine, but let's just be together and let's bond as a group. You know, it's like this is your best friend. This is your family. This is your pets, your plants, your people. These are the things you love. This is the life force around you that you love, and that the closer you get to them, the better it feels, you know. So there's a focus on family. This could be the focus on romance, very close friendships, you know. Is a celebration type of energy here. It is really an appreciation for all the good things in life. Yeah. Very, very good. We're going to do an extended reading. I know this one went kind of long. If you want to watch the extended, there's a link up top. There's a link down below. New readings for Gemini, Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. And leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together. Oh, it's empty.